Welcome to Shortcuts, and prepare yourself for an in-depth episode on the truth about getting lean fast. Okay, so first and foremost, let us set the stage. I'm sure many of you watching right now have been through this exact situation before. So picture this, okay? It's 11:47 p.m. at night. The house is quiet. Everyone's asleep. The phone is on your bedside or an inch from your body. And you just went on Google and typed in how to lose weight fast. Okay? Maybe you did that because there's a date on the calendar that you need to prepare for. You got a wedding, you got a reunion, you got a trip, a summer trip coming up. You got to go to the pool with the kids. You got a situation where you got to take off your shirt, right? And you know you are not where you want to be physically. Okay? Maybe you had a trigger event. Right? You woke up in the morning, you looked yourself in the mirror, you didn't recognize yourself. Maybe you're trying on old shirts that don't fit anymore, right? It's not vanity. You just don't feel like yourself and you want to feel like yourself again, right? Now, you're on Google, you're on your phone, you typed in how to lose weight fast, and the internet is about to give you hundreds or probably even thousands of different answers on how to lose that weight. Right? From crash diets to cleanses to fat burners to peptides to steroids to liposuction to Jenny Craig, everything under the sun, you're about to see when you type that in on Google. Before you click any one of those links and go down this endless rabbit hole of answers, give me the next 30 minutes. I promise you will not regret it. Okay? This exact moment before someone goes down this rabbit hole has wrecked more good men than every cheat meal combined, okay? And in this episode, we're gonna go over why and the way that actually works, okay? So first and foremost, why should you listen to me, okay? I'm Charlie, if you don't know me yet, and you should listen to me because I have been exactly where you are now, and I've spent my entire adult life coaching thousands of men and women through this exact process, okay? My story is, if you don't know me, I started off very skinny, very weak, very insecure. Maybe on the other side of the spectrum, maybe you're watching this and you're overweight, you're obese, you're on the fat side of the aisle, right? But the end result, the end feeling is the exact same. You're low on confidence, you're insecure, maybe you feel weak, you feel ashamed to take off your shirt in public, go to the beach. I was the exact same, just on the other side, right? I was always tall, I played soccer, I was running a lot as a kid, and as you can see on the left, I was literally a stick. I was 6'3", 140 pounds, soaking wet, all the way through high school, my entire childhood, all the way through high school, okay? And I know the feeling of hating your body, of feeling insecure, of not wanting to take off my shirt. I know that feeling very well. I spent a decade plus feeling that. 12 years later, I've finally I've surpassed the dream physique that I wanted when I was in that stage of when I first started my fitness career, when I turned 17, 18. 12 years later, I can confidently say I have the dream body that I've always wanted to have my entire life, right? And through this past 12 years of doing this, I've transformed thousands of people. Just take a look at the results on Meister Body, right? And I've seen every single excuse in the book, right? From crazy stressful CEO executive level jobs to kids to 40, 50, 60 hour work weeks to diabetics to people with certain diseases or bottlenecks. I've seen it all. I've seen every excuse, right? And since in that time, we've been able to master the fundamentals, which will be later on in this episode, we'll be really deep diving into. From training to nutrition, recovery, hormones, supplements, peptides. We're going to talk about all of this in this episode, okay? And after seeing this pattern over and over and over again for years, it's the same story every year. Maybe you're in a situation now, every guy, every girl thinks that they're the only one going through this exact situation, okay? And it's the most predictable thing in this industry, which is what I want to address now, okay? I am not here to sell you anything. I'm actually here to talk you out of why you Googled that in the first place, okay? You're looking for the short, quick fix, right? That's why you went on Google at 11:47 p.m. to type that in. I'm going to talk you out of doing that and taking that shortcut and how to fix this issue for the rest of your life without having to spiral and go through this loop of trying a new program, trying a new fad, trying a new supplement, blah, 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 and just ending up in the exact same situation as where you started. Okay, that is my goal. I'm not selling anything. I will convince you why you should not go down those rabbit holes and look for the quick fixes when it comes to, in my opinion, the most important thing in your life: your health. Now, before we can talk about how to fix this, we first need to address and understand the industry, okay? Think about this for a second and pause if you need to. Who profits when you succeed? Who profits when you lose the weight, when you get your dream body, when you're fit, you're strong, you're healthy? Who profits out of that? No one, right? Who profits when you panic buy, you fail, you're in those never-ending cycles of programs and supplements and this, and this? Who profits then, right? The whole industry is designed to sell and not designed to fix the root cause of why you got overweight or why you got X, Y, Z in the first place. A result means you never come back. When you are healthy, when you are fit, when you lost the weight, when you have the dream body, you're not buying all this extra crap trying to sell you to get those results. An unhealthy customer is a life customer because you'll always come back. You'll always try a new thing. You're desperate to look better, to feel better, to improve your health, right? And that is the biggest issue when it comes to the fitness industry. They sell you they treat you the symptoms, but never the root cause of why you got overweight or why you got unhealthy in the first place, okay? So now we're in June 2026. And I see this every single year before the summer. Summer's coming up, beach body, travel, all these events going on. June on social media is fast, it's extreme, it's shiny, right? And this is the optimal time for these companies to sell you on their programs, their supplements, their peptides, their shortcuts. This is where you see it. The juice cleanses, the 21-day shreds, the drop 30 pounds in 30 days headlines. It's always January for New Year's and June for the summer shred. Or even worse, you're scrolling social media, you're on Instagram, and you see these crazy motivational transformations on your feed. Little to not even know that many of them are either highly manipulated or just straight up fake. And this guy here, for example, did an awesome case study on just the vast amount of manipulation that goes on, especially on social media, because that's kind of how the landscape of social media is designed to really extract that wow factor. This guy, for example, it looks like he dropped 20, 30 pounds, crazy shredded on the right, before on the left. And this is literally 1 hour apart, right? Designed to sell you his supplements or his crazy 30-day shred program or whatever it is, right? This is literally 1 hour apart. Before and after the gym, crazy pump, different angles, different lighting's better on the right as opposed to the left. This is 1 hour apart, and it looks like he's dropped 20, 25 pounds on the right? That's the issue with social media. It's highly manipulated, and of course the entire environment is really designed to extract that wow factor from you, the viewer. Okay, so ultimately, you need to stop blaming yourself. You didn't fail those programs. They were just built to sell first, serve seconds. Okay. Now, you're at this point You're overweight, you need to lose 30, 40, 50 pounds, and you start to hit panic. How to lose that weight as fast as possible. Okay? Before we go into the solution, I want to go into the issues. Typically, what most people that want a quick fix, the rabbit hole, the plan that they go down. And note down, we're going to go through 7. Note down how many of these 7 you've tried or that you've fallen a victim to with previous diets, cuts, whatever, okay? The first is slashing your food to practically nothing, right? How many times have you started a cut, you want to lose weight, and you just like instantly stop eating? You basically just go off coffee and willpower, right? This is what your meals look like. You cut your calories by 80%. How many times have you done that in the past? Or you start like just brutally killing yourself on the treadmill or the elliptical in the gym. You start doing morning walks or runs, and then you go in the afternoon after work, you go on the treadmill for an hour, you just destroy yourself thinking you have to punish yourself or be disciplined in order to lose that weight. Or you go to the supermarket, you go to the supplements store, and you pick up the most aggressive fat burner label in the entire store. How many times have you done that? This used to be like crazy, these fat burner pills. Promising you these crazy shreds, burn X amount of fat in 30 days, whatever it is, on a bottle. Just take this and you'll burn all the fat. How many, I'm sure many of you guys have tried fat burners in the past. This is probably one of the most common ones. Or you're one of those people that you start your cut, you go all in, you start weighing yourself religiously every single day, you start your morning hopping on the scale, and your entire mood for that day is dictated whether the scale goes up or the scale goes down. How many of you have fallen into that trap? Scale obsession, right? Or this is probably one of the most common ones as well, is the weekend collapse. You're super dialed Monday through Friday. You're tracking your calories. You're hitting your workouts. You're doing your steps. You're sleeping good. You're doing all the fundamentals right. And then the weekend comes around, and because you were so strict Monday through Friday, you just absolutely fall off. You go all your buddies. You go all your wife. There's an event, travel, XYZ, and you just absolutely fall off the wagon. Right? Have a cheat meal, turns into a cheat weekends. Alcohol, and you just eat and extinguish the entire calorie deficit that you worked so hard for Monday through Friday. Or this usually comes down later down the line. You start to get really desperate. You've tried the diets, you've tried restricting your calories, you've tried doing 2 hours of cardio a day, you've tried it all, and nothing is really moving the needle. So then you start to resort to pharmacology, right? You see your maybe a buddy at the gym. Hey, Mark, I'm trying out this new supplement. I think you should give it a go, right? This is where you fall into the big pharma trap, right? Or you start reading forums, getting into peptides, the pills, the fat burners, to crazy supplements, even steroids. This is where things get dangerous. Or you genuinely try to seek help from an expert on social media, but you're seeing just conflicting advice, conflicting fitness tips from various gurus online, right? One guy says carnivore, one guy says vegan, one guy says go all in on carbs, one guy says cut fruit, all carbs. One guy says train every day, one guy says train twice a week. All this conflicting advice when you go on social media. And I've even fallen victim to this as well. In my early days, trying to learn a lot of this stuff. My favorite, I follow every fitness influencer and coach in the industry, and it just seems like everyone is kind of talking over each other or counteracting what the other guy said, just to kind of one up each other. And it was just an endless cycle of trying to find what was right and what was just BS trying to sell you at the end of the day, right? The problem was never your discipline. You're not broken. You're working with the wrong information. And I think that is the easiest trap to fall into. You just have no idea what is the truth and what is marketing garbage. The real damage of this is the body composition. So let's say you are skinny fat. And I think majority of people watching this video are kind of in this situation where maybe they have this body composition, right? Why on earth would you start doing all these crazy interventions to lose the gut, to lose the weight, you maybe got a beer belly, just to end up as a skinnier, weaker version of this? I don't understand. This is the most common thing I see. Is guys with this physique, or maybe a little bit overweight, they go crazy on the diet, on the cardio, on all the stuff we just talked about, just to end up as a weaker, skinnier version of that body composition. Yes, they're lighter on the scale, but they look worse in the mirror. Again, they're a weaker, skinnier version of how they started. This is why body composition is everything. You want to maximize muscle and minimize fat. That ideal male physique that you're looking for is a combination of those two things, not just maximizing weight loss. Okay? Your body is a survival machine. It's not a calculator. Calories in, calories out, right? If you are doing these crazy crash diets or shortcuts, your metabolism guaranteed will take a severe beating. And this is hard to recover from long term. The more you do this, the more your metabolism, the more your gut health takes a beating. And it's hard to recover from that, right? So you can see up to 30, 40, 50% of your resting metabolic rate drop under these extreme energy restriction diets, okay? Your body reads it as a crash, as that crash is a danger, to conserve energy, right? And it turns the dial way down massively. That week 1 diet that lost you 10 pounds no longer works by week 4, because guess what? Your body adapts. Your metabolism, as I'm sure you've heard, adapts, okay? This is why it's such a dangerous game doing these crash diets or shortcuts, because you ruin. You're damaging the fundamentals and essentially your hormones, which dictates everything else down the line. Chronic undereating and overtraining 24/7 is giving your body a constant stress signal. As you may or may not know, testosterone and cortisol are inverse. The higher your cortisol, the lower your testosterone will be. Okay? And the more extreme you go on these diets, these crash diets, these energy restrictions, the more cortisol you're going to be inducing on your body. And guess what? Testosterone starts to crash. Okay? Testosterone drops, stress hormones climb, and everything else suffers. It's not just what you see in the mirror. Your sleep, your drive, brain fog. If it's prolonged, you start to expose yourself to more injuries, diseases, illnesses. You start to get sick easier and faster than you would otherwise. So it's not just what you see in the mirror. Okay? You're essentially you floor the gas and slam the brake at the same time. It's essentially what you're doing when it comes to doing these crash diets or these shortcuts. Okay? Now, we have to address this because now it's 2026, right? This will only get bigger and bigger, and I'd rather address it and be honest about it rather than trying to just avoid it altogether and tell you not to do it, because you're going to research this stuff anyway. And that is the topic of peptides, okay? The dangerous end of the shelf. Again, this will only get bigger and bigger. This will be the biggest thing in the next 3 to 5 years is about peptides, okay? I'm not going to do any fear-mongering around this. I'm not going to judge you if you are taking peptides or you want to take peptides. Just be aware. We're going to go into some depth here. Just be aware. You should not gamble your health for the short-term goal, right? Maybe you have a wedding, summer holidays. Do not go extreme, because this can wreck you long-term, okay? And I think the biggest issue with a lot of these shortcuts and these crash diets is the rebound is nasty, right? Oftentimes you end up worse than when you started with all that damage that you've now done to your system and to your hormones. You have less muscle, you wrecked your metabolism on the way there, you go back to eating normally, you store more fat than you had before, returns faster, and the amount of damage you've done to your gut, to your hormones, takes months, if not years, to recover from. Okay? Then that's kind of the typical cycle I see is the crash, you lose 30 pounds in 30 days, whatever it is, you rebound hard, you go on that vacation, you go into that wedding, you finish the summer holidays, and because you never address the foundational framework, you rebound hard, and then you crash again. It's because it's a never-ending cycle. And the more you do it, the more damaging it is on your body and your hormones. 5 years later, you got more fat, less muscle, more suffering, and as you know, as you age, your health gradually declines. The invisible cost. Shame cycle, all or nothing, low trust in your body and confidence. The more you do this, the more you fail, the more barrier you have, or these mental kind of barriers that you distill on yourself, having these limiting beliefs that you'll never get fit, you'll never be strong and fit and healthy. The more of these shortcuts, the more times you fail and rebound, go through this never-ending cycle of these shortcuts in the fitness, with your fitness goals, right? And it leaks everywhere. It's not just what you see in the mirror. It's not just in your body. It goes into your relationships, into your work, brain fog, your productivity, the beach with your kids, your marriage. It leaks into every other area of your life. It's not just what you see visually in the mirror. By the time a lot of these, especially with a lot of guys I worked with in the past, by the time they reach me, they've already gone through half a dozen of these different fitness fads and crash diets, drowning in misinformation, missing belief their body will respond, giving that belief back is what I care about most when they join these programs. Removing those limiting beliefs, okay? So let's go into, now that we know the problem, we understand the harsh realities of this industry, let's go into the honest math, okay? The scale drops fast, and what a lot of people think is just, wow, losing fat like very quickly, especially those people that lose like 20 pounds in a month. A lot of that, unfortunately, is water weight and glycogen from the muscle, and of course, muscle itself. You'd be shocked at, let's say you lose 20 pounds, at how little of that 20 pounds is actually pure fat tissue, okay? Because first, the first thing you lose, the first 3 to 5 pounds in a cut that you lose is almost entirely water weight. Why? It's because now you're limiting your energy intake via calories. And if you didn't know, every 1 gram of carbohydrates that you consume holds on to 3 grams of water. So let's say you're eating 300 grams of carbs a day, you cut that down to 100, you go conservative, you just lost almost a kilogram just of water weight, right? Then once the water is gone from the reduced carbohydrates, then you start to reduce the stored glycogen in your muscle. That's why a lot of guys, after a month or 2 months of cutting, they start to look flat in the mirror. Their muscles kind of just looks more deflated because they're no longer holding as much glycogen in the muscle. They start to feel weaker, they look more flat, and that is because your body's now just dispensing a lot of glycogen from the muscle itself. Okay? Then, depending on how your diet is set up, if you're not eating enough protein, you will start to unfortunately lose a lot of muscle mass. And this is the worst mistake I see, is guys that are so obsessed with the scale, they do everything to maximize weight loss at the expense of muscle loss. Again, you don't want to be a skinnier, weaker version of what you are now. You want to maximize and optimize body composition. You want to retain as much muscle, or even build muscle, because that is the number one organ of longevity and health, is muscle. Downstream affects every other area of your health, including energy, sleep, brain, like a lot of the mental benefits come from the physical, from building muscle, right? And so it's extremely important to maximize and optimize body composition. You want to retain and build muscle, and you want to solely focus on the weight that you lose should be almost purely fat. And this is one of the biggest mistakes I see with guys taking Ozempic, semaglutide, all these GLPs now, peptides, or these crazy restrictive weight loss diets, is they're losing a lot of muscle. And again, they're becoming a skinnier, weaker version of who they are now. Unfortunately, real fat loss is slower than what the industry tries to sell you, okay? The fast number that feels like working is proof it's barely touching the fat. As I just described, a lot of that initial weight that you lose is a combination of water weight and glycogen, and then, unfortunately, muscle. So if you see 10 pounds off on the scale, just know it's not 10 pounds of fat, okay? Now, 1 year later, the lost muscle plus a slowed metabolism, you go back to eating normally, you store more fat. 1 year later, you are now in a worse position than how you started, okay? It usually takes 1 year on kind of the average crash rebound to fully resolve in terms of the damage you've done to your system and to your hormones. And most important, and I should add to this, the more you do it and the older you are, the longer this will take. If you're a guy that's 20, you can usually recover quite fast. If you're a guy that's touching 50 and you've tried half a dozen other crash diets and shortcuts in the past, this will become a lot longer. Again, up to a year, potentially years. And it's not just a diet, it's a loop. And every time you do one of these, it will cost you more, okay? So now that we've addressed the issue, we've addressed the broken infrastructure that is the entire fitness industry, let's talk about the real way, okay? And keep in mind, I know I'm trying to dissuade you from these shortcuts, but also it's not going to take years to get to the result that you want. It's all about mastering the foundation, the fundamentals, so that not only you get the body you want, but that it'll be so much easier to maintain that for the rest of your life, okay? Would you rather suffer by going to the gym 30 to 60 minutes a day, not even every day, 3 to 5 times a week, than to suffer in 5 years with the constant pain and medications and doctor visits and treatments and illnesses and all this shit that comes as you age? What would you rather do? Right? It's information in the right order, okay? So let's go over what that looks like and kind of what you need to master to get the body that you want. There's gonna be 5 pillars. Pillar 1, the most important, the initial stimulus, is your training. You need to train. If you want to lose weight, if you want to optimize your body composition, you absolutely must provide a stimulus on your muscles. And that is the best way to do that is via weightlifting. This has to be the priority. Lifting is the priority. Cardio is a tool. So many times I see people, when they want to lose weight, they instantly go to the treadmill. That's the very first thing. New Year's resolution, summer shred, boom, they spend an hour on the treadmill and not even hit the weights at all. Totally backwards. You need to hit the weights first and then only use cardio as a tool. Cardio is not even essential. You don't even have to do cardio if you don't want to. Right? As we touched on already, muscle leads to an optimized body composition. You want to maximize and prioritize lifting because cardio, this is another example. Cardio, let's say you burn 300 calories on the treadmill or the elliptical, whatever cardio machine, Stairmaster. You will only burn those calories when you're actively doing that cardio. When you build muscle, not only, of course, are you also burning burning calories while you're lifting, but you will now, the more muscle you have, the more calories you'll be burning at rest doing nothing. You can be sitting on the couch, and the guy with more muscle, just breathing and living, just being there, will burn more muscle than the overweight fat guy equivalent. That's why it's so important to lift weights to build muscle, because it will make your life tremendously easier if you're burning more calories at rest. Your metabolism is more efficient and you're just burning more by doing nothing. That's why you need to focus and prioritize lifting weights. I cannot stress that enough. So once we have the initial foundation, the initial stimulus, I should say, Then, as you know, nutrition is critical. And I see so many guys, nutrition, it's all about nutrition. But again, you need that initial stimulus for the rest to work. Okay? Even if nutrition is dialed, you cut your calories in half, you're not training, you don't want to, again, as we touched on already, you don't want to be a skinnier, weaker version of the exact same body composition that you have now. You need that stimulus. So yes, diet is extremely important and arguably more important than the training itself. It's useless if the stimulus and the training is not there. It's like a puzzle piece. You need both. It doesn't matter if you think diet's more important. You need the initial stimulus for the diet to take place and actually to work and give you the results that you're looking for. Okay? When it comes to diet, you have to, and this is critical if you're someone that is taking GLPs, semaglutide, Ozempic, this is absolutely critical. You have to be eating enough protein. Okay? And do not go on extreme calorie restrictions. Do not cut your calories by 1,000 or by half. Start small and only adjust, and this is where a lot of people go wrong because they have no idea how to do this. Incrementally increase your calorie deficit. Do not start with 500,000, 1,500 calorie drops. You will wreck yourself and your hormones. Okay? And then protein, make sure, please, eat enough protein, because if you're not eating enough protein, then that is where you risk a lot of muscle and strength loss as you are in a calorie deficit. Pillar number 3. I would argue this is the most important. This is the biggest needle mover and the biggest thing that I see with new clients that come into my coaching program is the recovery is so bad. So bad to the point where no matter how hard you're training in the gym, no matter how dialed your nutrition is, if you are not sleeping properly, none of that matters. This is the true foundation to everything else. You absolutely must prioritize recovery and sleep. Why? I mean, I can do a whole episode on just recovery and sleep. It's I'm sure you know how important recovery and sleep is. But truly, this is the most foundational and the biggest needle mover when it comes to optimizing your body composition, okay? Not just from a recovery standpoint, being able to hit the training session the next day, but most importantly is your hormones. If you're a man, your testosterone, your growth hormone are highest when you sleep, right? And if you're only sleeping 5-6 hours a night, you are severely limiting your natural production of these hormones. The less you sleep, if you're sleeping 4, 5, 6 hours a night, inversely, as we already touched on earlier in this episode, your cortisol will spike massively as well. And the higher cortisol, the lower your testosterone, the lower your growth hormone. So again, I can do a whole topic on this, but just know this is the biggest needle mover when it comes to body composition. You absolutely must prioritize sleep. Minimum 7 hours of sleep, especially if you're training 3-4 times a week. You absolutely need to do this, because you'll be able to leverage everything else, nutrition, training, supplementation, significantly more when the foundation is dialed, and that is sleep. Then, going off of what we just talked about in sleep is the hormones, right? Many of these hormones endogenously are produced while you're sleeping. Testosterone, growth hormone, your hunger hormones, leptin, ghrelin, your cortisol will go down if you're well rested. And that's why it's so important to get your hormones checked, because hormones are the foundation to everything else. You will need much less willpower, which a lot of people just basically solely rely on when it comes to fat loss, just how much willpower they have. You will need much less of that, and ideally you don't even need any of that when your hormones are aligned. But the issue is, if you are overweight, if you're unhealthy, if you're fat to begin with, the foundation's already broken. Your hormones are not optimized, otherwise you wouldn't be in the state that you are now. Okay? So I would highly recommend do this at least once a year. Get your blood work done. Get the real numbers. That way you can analyze and optimize and work with a doctor if you are contemplating going down the route of GLPs and peptides and whatnot. Do this with a doctor. Please do not get your fitness and peptide advice or TRT or whatever it is from influencers on Instagram. Please. That's all I'm going to say on this slide. Then the final pillar is sustainable consistency. It is way better to follow a program, even if you're not like bang on dial on every aspect of it, that you can do reliably and consistently over the long term, as opposed to going 110% for a week or for a month. Okay? Results in fitness come from the compounding effects of consistency. Even if you have an off day or a couple, you go on vacation, you're not 100% all the time, you will get much better results hitting 70% consistently over 3 years as you would being 110% all in for 3 months. I promise you. And you'll feel a lot better and have more enjoyment from the former option than the latter. Right? So here now we have to line all these pillars up. Fat loss stops being a war and becomes the fastest sustainable path there is. And a lot of the times it doesn't even feel like you're on a diet, you're crashing, you're doing all these shortcuts, because this will become a lifestyle. It will become a point where it becomes habitual. It can become second nature. You won't have to think about eating this thing or going to the gym. It'll just feel like the right thing to do, and you want to do it, and you feel better when you do it. That's where you want to get to. That's where the magic happens. Because at that point, your quality of life will elevate and ascend drastically, and that's beautiful. That's my favorite part about coaching clients. It's just seeing their quality of life. Not even the transformation that they get physically in the mirror. It's about seeing the quality of their life, their confidence, their energy, their brain fog, their sleep, just have more zest for life. That's what it's all about when you line up all these pillars. Okay? Now, you might be thinking, sounds slower, and I have to go on this beach vacation in a month, right? Or I have to go to this wedding at the end of the summer, right? The crash feels fast for 2 weeks, then costs you the next year to clean that shit up. So it's much better to focus on building the foundation than crashing for that wedding or that summer holiday or that beach trip that you got coming up, okay? As we just touched on. The right way feels slower for 2 weeks, and then it never stops working after the significant amount of damage you've done to your system and your hormones. The real shortcut is refusing to take the shortcut. Okay? Before we go into the closing here, I want to go over some myths. The biggest myth I see is cardio is king. As we just discussed in the first pillar, training is absolutely foundational. You will burn way more calories with more muscle than you will forcefully, with willpower, doing cardio every day on the treadmill, which most of you guys hate doing, including myself. That's the last thing I want to do, is spend an hour, 30 minutes on a treadmill every single day just to burn 200 calories. I would much rather put that time in to building muscle, getting stronger. That way I can have more calories to work with. My metabolism is way higher, and that way I'm burning more calories doing nothing. Does that not sound much better than doing cardio 30 to 60 minutes every single day? Myth number 2, carbs are the enemy. Again, I see this so much when it comes to weight loss, keto, severe carb restriction. What are the odds? Tell me right now. What are the odds that you will never have a slice of pizza again? Or a piece of cake, or whatever? Because the moment you do, the floodgates are open, right? You will get a big weight jump, because now you are filling those carbs with water as well. A massive weight jump the moment you reintroduce carbohydrates. What's the point? What is like? It makes no sense to me. Again, this is just another shortcut. Of course, you're gonna lose a lot of weight because a lot of that's water weight from the glycogen. What are the odds you're never gonna have pizza or cake or fruits? Like, that's just so unrealistic to me. And not only the unrealistic lifestyle of that, it's also the detriment to your hormones when it comes to testosterone production. You need carbohydrates, and your body's preferred source of energy is glycogen. Your body's way more efficient with glycogen. Yes, you can get the ketosis. Yes, you can use ketones, but it's way more inefficient to do that than it is to use glycogen. Your body is designed to use glycogen when it comes to performance and anything lifting weights, cardio, whatever it is, anything active. Myth number 3 is more is better. The body adapts, as we've discussed already. That severe calorie restriction that worked in week 1 will no longer work in week 4. Your body adapts, and it adapts pretty fast. Okay? So doing more is not necessarily better. It's much better to, again, optimize the foundation, the fundamentals, and do a program, a plan that is consistent, that you can do sustainably over time, right? It's much, as I mentioned already, it's much better to go slow for 2 years than it is to go all out and wreck yourself in 2 months, okay? Myth number 4 is the no pain, no gain. This is massive on social media. You have to suffer to see results. And I could not agree or disagree more. Misery is what makes you quit. If you are putting yourself through hell day in, day out, eventually your willpower will run out. Nobody has unlimited willpower. Nobody. That's literally the mechanism, not a mindset problem. Okay? The journey should be enjoyable. It should be fun. Eventually, you want to get it to a place where it becomes your lifestyle naturally because you want it to be, not because you're forcing yourself to put yourself through hell by cutting your calories in half, by doing an hour of cardio, by doing lifts that you don't want to do. You will eventually break. You only have so much willpower. Okay, so you do not have to suffer to see results. Now, the last one I want to go over here is the lean guys online, the influencers, are just more disciplined. Okay? And you cannot compare yourself to these guys because these guys, one, their life is what they're doing, is fitness. That's their job, to go to the gym. You have a family, you're working 40 hours a week, you're traveling, you have kids, whatever. Your life is fundamentally way different than that fitness influencer online. Not to mention, majority of these guys are on steroids, are on peptides, are doing a lot of other stuff that you don't see online. Stuff that happens behind closed doors, right? So quickly, I want to round off here with peptides. We have a whole module on this, but again, as I mentioned, I'm not gonna dismiss this because you're a guy, you're curious, you want to know what the answers are to peptides. Okay. The biggest issue I see is the two broken extremes online. They're hyped as magic, or they're dismissed as cheating if you are on them. Okay. Only get bigger and bigger and bigger as time goes on. GLPs, semaglutide, tirzepatide, now retatrutide, which will probably be FDA approved by the end of the year. Right, this is the newest, most effective shortcut. Along with recovery, longevity, BPC-157, TB500, growth hormones, peptides, sleep, all this stuff will become bigger and bigger and bigger, and inevitable not to research or to come across. Okay, I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to go super in depth here on telling you what to do or what not to do. My only recommendation is, please, if you're going down that route with TRT, with peptides, with GLPs, please do it with your doctor, please. Do not use your favorite influencer's discount code or go on some forum or buy somewhere off some random website. There are TRT clinics or health clinics or these biohacking clinics everywhere now. If you're in America, US, Canada, etc., these are everywhere. And it's please, the amount of, right now it's kind of the Wild West, the amount of sketchy peptides or underdosed, overdosed, or mixed with heavy metals online that you can buy on these forums or on these websites is insane. It's like 80%. So please, if you're gonna go down that route, go to your doctor, go to a clinic, and get an actual prescription for if you are set on going down the route of doing TRT or peptides or GLPs, okay? If you are going to go on this, please make sure you dial in the fundamentals as we go back and really carefully listen to what I said on those fundamentals, because you will be able to leverage those peptides tenfold by dialing what we just touched on in the fundamentals part of this presentation. Okay. Otherwise, you will lose a lot of muscle and you'll become just a suboptimal version of what you could have been had you dialed in the fundamentals. Okay. So I'm not going to give you doses, no sources, no protocols. Again, this should be done with your doctor specifically, because everyone is unique and everyone responds differently to different compounds, chemicals, and peptides. Okay. So I want to address that because I know this is going to become a bigger and bigger topic, and it's going to be inevitable for you not to come across this if you haven't already in the very near future. Okay, let's go to I know I'm already rambling here. I want to keep this tight. Let's go to what Meister Body is all about. Okay, where are you going to learn all this stuff in depth? No shortcuts, the actual fundamentals. Okay, The biggest belief that I have is men deserve real information. No fluff, no hedging, no theory from someone who's never lived it. I've lived it myself, and I've coached thousands. Go check Meister about it. We've worked with thousands of men, primarily men, some women as well, on this exact, everything we've touched on in this presentation, okay? So what we have for you today, again, I'm not selling anything. We are gonna teach you all of this in depth. This was just a very high level overview of the fundamentals. We have a free tier for you, okay? In my Meister Body School community, where I will go into depth on the fundamentals for free. You can access all this with all the nuance, all the details of everything we discussed on this presentation for free. Training, nutrition, recovery, and the fundamentals masterclass will be covered in this tier, okay? If you are intrigued and you want to go above and beyond to level 2, again, level 2 and level 3 are not effective or are not useful if the foundation is not dialed. So that's why I want to make this free, because this is the most important. Out of anything you'll get in this community, the stuff in the free tier, if you're able to dial that in, that will be the bulk of the results. Now, once you have dialed in the foundations, fundamentals, then we can go on to these kind of more premium tiers, which is tier 2, the premium tier in the school community, where we touch on things that are, again, make more sense once the foundations are dialed. Things like physique ratios, hormone optimization, supplementation, hygiene, posture, what to do when you're traveling, a full-on travel playbook, neck training, neck maxing. Plus, we do a Q&A live session bi-weekly where you can come on the call and specifically ask me any questions, struggles that you are having in your own fitness journey, okay? From there, we have one final mastery tier called the VIP tier, and this is the inner circle, right? This is the cream of the crop. Everything in fundamentals, everything in premium, plus anti-aging, skin, hair, peptides, endocrinology, productivity, debloating, gut health, stretch marks, the list goes on and so forth. On top of the calls as well, we also do VIP mastermind calls where we go in depth for 30 minutes to an hour on a specific topic, okay? This is for the guys that want to really dial in every single aspect, that want to master their body. That's what Meister Body means. Meister is master your body, Meister Body, okay? That's what you'll get in this VIP tier. Everything. No holding back. Everything when it comes to your fitness and your health. So you're probably thinking, which tier is for you, right? Premium is for the entire system and the Q&A calls. The VIP is the entire picture plus the masterminds, okay? Week 1, if you are brand new, just start with the free tier. You don't need to go to the premium or the VIP. The stuff later on, you'll be able to leverage way more once the fundamentals, which you get for free in the free tier, are dialed in. So please, more than 50% of the results you'll see in your body come from the free tier. I'll give you the stuff for free, okay? Only once that is dialed in, then you can move on to the more advanced stuff, okay? The coolest thing is the community itself. Momentum from men who don't make excuses. You stop running on motivation, on willpower, and start running on environment. When you are in this community, you will be hungry. You'll be more motivated. We're gonna challenge you. We're gonna educate you. You're gonna level up mentally and physically, okay? And I think having an environment that is conducive to that is what we're ultimately striving for in the Meister Body community, okay? What this looks like 90 days from now, okay? You get leaner and it holds. You're not gonna wreck your hormones, you're not gonna wreck your body by doing these short-term cyclical crash diet rebounds going back and forth as we touched on earlier, okay? You're gonna hold your muscle. You're not gonna lose, of the weight you're gonna lose, it's gonna be purely fat, not muscle, okay? You're gonna actually retain or even build muscle depending on where you are in terms of your experience level in the gym. Your energy will go up. Your sleep will be fixed. No more brain fog. A lot of the benefits you're gonna see in this program will go, and especially in the Foundations series, will go beyond what you see visually in the mirror, okay? Your confidence, your energy, your sleep, brain fog, a lot of your biomarkers, blood pressure, a lot of the insulin sensitivity, a lot of this will be improved just with the fundamentals tier, okay? Once you experience that version that works, you will not go back to guessing alone. I promise you, this is what got me into this whole thing, is once you start seeing results that like last, you'll become addicted and you want more and you want to optimize more. That's just kind of the inevitable path of this journey. So we're going to close off here. The offer that I have for you, again, start with the free tier. I'm not pushing you for these ones. These don't even make sense if you are brand new, or if you haven't already, if you're not already working out and you're not already eating decent. Start with the free tier, okay? You can move on to these at any time. If you're intermediate level, you've tried some of these, you're already working out, you're sleeping good, you're eating decent, then maybe the premium tier works for you. And the VIP really, I'm not even gonna push the VIP, because unless you're like really dialed in when it comes to this stuff, again, a lot of stuff you're not gonna be able to leverage as much if the foundation's not in place. So work your way up. Start with free. If you're intermediate, start with premium, and then you go to VIP down the line. You'll have access to those offers down the line, okay? One thing to note, if you're gonna go with the premium or the VIP, you want it all right off the bat, I would highly recommend just going for the annual. Not only is it cheaper, but it just kind of less of that headache, like having to pay every month. Just get it one time done. You don't have to think about it, and you also get a pretty substantial discount on the annual offer as well. Okay? Which tier ultimately depends on you and where you're at with your own fitness journey. Again, for most, you start with free. If you're intermediate, start with premium, and then you can kind of move up and unlock tiers as you go on. Okay? The biggest objection I see is I don't have time. This is exactly who this is for. We're gonna save you time. You're not gonna be in the gym every day. If you think you have to go do cardio every day, or do 20,000 steps a day, or work out every day, we are gonna show you the opposite. We'll show you how to optimize and maximize your time on what you're already doing to save you more time. Okay? So this is literally we're gonna save you time for the guys that are working 50 hours a week, or have a family, or traveling, XYZ. For the guys that have tried everything, okay? You tried the shortcut of a dozen different ways, not the full picture in order. Okay, we're gonna go back to the foundations, the fundamentals, and fix what's broken, the system. The founder rate, as I already mentioned, is open now until July. So get in now if you want to take advantage of the discounts. Final thing, I know I've rambled on for quite a bit here. The final thing is, do not hand another June to the same trap. Another summer. Do not fall, please, for one of these short-term fixes. Let's fix it once and for all. That way you elevate not only your physique, your body composition, but also your quality of life. What possibly is more important than your health? Okay? Try it out for free. The premium and the VIP are down the line once you're ready for that. But give it a go. Join the community for free, and then ascend from there. Okay? The link for the community will be, if you're watching on YouTube, will be in the description. If you're watching on school, you'll see it on the about side, or as well as the comments on this video. The link for the premium and the VIP will be down below in the comments. Okay, so if you're ready, again, if you're watching on YouTube, just start with the free, and then you can ascend from there once you have the foundations dialed. Okay, no more 11:47 p.m. at night alone guessing. You're done with that shit. Okay, let's get to work. Let's build the foundation and set you up for, okay, go ahead, link in bio, link in comments, get yourself in the school community if you're not already in, and if you're in and you're ready to ascend and upgrade, try out the premium and then go to the VIP from there, okay? Besides that, I look forward to seeing you on the calls if you're premium and VIP, and let's get you that damn body for the rest of your life. Let's fix what's broken and optimize and get you your dream body. With that being said, it's been a pleasure, and looking forward to seeing you on the inside.